Astronauts to the moon.
10, 9, ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome to reality.
What's going on, everyone? It's Jeranism, back with another video for you today. It's a response to everyone's favorite NASA fanboy, Red's Rhetoric. Red loves to tell his version of the truth, but it's not quite an honest assessment, because he lives in a world where his minions kind of follow and parrot whatever Red says. So long as he cusses a lot and calls people a bunch of names, throws in a sine, a cosine, a reality, a mathematics, and truth into his nonsense videos, they all just flock. Do they even have a clue about what he's saying? No. Not at all. I mean, these guys get hard-ons from just watching rockets. That's about all they know. So here's the story, and I ask you, as always, to never trust me. Red's Pathetic likes to say that I go around saying I have the truth, which is complete nonsense, because I'm looking for the truth. It would kind of defeat the purpose. I tell everyone to do their own research and come to your own conclusions, but then I ask, is what we're being told the truth? So, first things first, I'm the realist.
The realist.
Gonna drop this and let the whole world feel it.
Let them feel it.
SpaceX is in the fake rocket business.
Oh.
They're gonna hold you down by teaching you rockets as part of physics.
Yeah, right.
Alrighty, YouTubers. Here's Red's Rhetorics. The most hated man in the globe earths.
It's amazing how there are out there who will claim to have the truth, but when it comes time to actually back their up, they will run away like a little bitch. Jism is just such a and I'm here to call him out on his once again because, hey, my name is bitch, that's just what I do. As some of you may remember, Jism agreed to have a debate with me if I could meet a certain challenge he made against me and Housesoy.
First off, who is Jism? Are you still having pronunciation issues with my name? It's jeranism, like your religion, scientism. You should be able to get that one. And second, I didn't even know you had a houseboy at all. But who am I to step in between a man and his houseboy, so I let it go. I let it go for the wager's sake.
The challenge was to replicate what we were seeing during the SpaceX deployment of the OG-2 satellites in the background. This was the mission where SpaceX landed their first stage booster. He was talking about the moon in the background because it appeared to move at random. It appeared to move in some weird arc or whatever.
So real quick, I just wanted to fill any newcomers in on the current situation. This little box here on the right, the one with the gold tinfoil, the trash bag, and the flexible aluminum dryer duct, Red believes it to be real. Now, not only is it real, it's a satellite deployer, and it's in space, falling around the planet. Very smart. Smart kid.
So, Jism said, if you can replicate that in Kerbal Space Program, I will debate you.
Here's the challenge, so easy a kindergartner could do it. Use Kerbal, model this deployment sequence for me. Just make sure it has no view of the sun, no view of the earth. The camera has to be on the same spot of the deployer. No Merlin vacuum engine firings. Show the moon doing exactly what it did while the deployer orbits. Now, let me show everyone at home my problem with the FakeX deployment, and then everyone can see if you and Houseboy successfully modeled it. So you see here, excuse my art by the way, we have the same view that we'll see from FakeX here in a few moments. We've got our camera as the yellow dot, and that's its frame of reference, the two yellow lines. We've got the moon as the small white dot. We've got the satellite that's sitting on top of the deployer, and over on the right we've got an orbiting Earth, and the little purple squares are the land. So as this thing starts to play through, you'll see that the moon appears to be moving from our perspective up and to the right in kind of an arc fashion. And that is to be expected. That's what we would see with the deployer traveling at 16,000 miles per hour around the globe. Now, I do understand that this would be seen forever, meaning we would never see the Earth or anything else happen. If that's our frame of reference, then this deployer could be falling around the Earth forever, and we would never see the Earth come into view. But that's not exactly what we get. Again, this makes absolute sense to me. There is no argument. But let's see what we get from FakeX. As the moon starts going around, and we'll show you this video here shortly, you'll see it kind of going through its little progression. Then all of a sudden, it stops. Now you need to ask yourself, why does the moon stop? No, not actually, but from our vantage point, why does it appear to stay still? Well, that's so they can deploy these satellites. So you'll see here, the satellite goes tumbling off at 16,000 miles per hour, I guess. And you see, as soon as it goes out of view, again, the moon begins to move. So now ask yourself, why is it that the moon appears to move and to stop? If it was the deployer whose reference was changing, left or right, as these two lines indicate here, well, the moon would move as well. So clearly it's not what we're being told. Clearly this is the result of SpaceX actually being named FakeX. It's a fake deployment, modeled in some warehouse where Elon Musk spends his dark, cold nights. Okay, now we'll watch SpaceX. This is the deployment sequence, and you will have already seen my issues. You will then see this actual footage, and the only thing that'll be left is Red's houseboy recreating it on Kerbal. And then you can all see that Red clearly did not complete the challenge, lies about saying he did, calls me a coward when he doesn't show his face or his name before trying to debate me, and how he calls that moving goalposts, I don't know. The truth is up to you, my friends. And here we go. Here's SpaceX and some idiot actors that they call nerds. Now, just a reminder, I wanted no Earth, no Sun, 16,000 miles per hour approximately, and it says there, start at fairing separation. It says it right there. Kerbal or like program. And then also I show here exactly what I wanted to see with the placement of the moon, and you'll see the number 1 is in the middle of the screen, because that's where we're about to see the moon at the beginning of the whole sequence. How it starts at the middle and then goes somewhere else, I don't know. I'll even give you the distances and the speeds and the height, and it makes no sense, but that's because it's fake. So here we are starting from fairing separation, where I wanted them to start. The reason for that is, as you can see in the middle of the screen now, we've got the moon. It is at 111 kilometers high, 56 kilometers per hour. That is the equivalent of starting at 3,514 miles per hour, and it is currently 68 miles high. So remember that. We'll need it shortly. We are also at 2 minutes and 50 seconds as far as the mission goes. So when we get to see the satellite deployments a little bit later, and we get to see where the moon is at that time, it'll be important to know how long it's been.
And now the way that we're going to begin deploying them is with the 4 satellites on top, then the 4 satellites in the bottom, and then the 3 satellites in the middle.
All right, you'll see the green arrow down below is pointing at the moon now. We're at 25,964 kilometers per hour as the first satellite is deployed. That is actually 16,000 miles per hour. And you'll see that we also are at 625 kilometers high, which is 388 miles. So that means we've moved about 320 miles higher. And we've also increased our speed about 13,000 miles per hour, and yet the moon went backwards.
Now the reason that we're staggering these deployments is in order to allow the satellites to have some spacing, to give them their proper location within the constellation that's going to provide that continuous global coverage that Lauren was speaking about earlier. They have a parking orbit of about between 620 and 660 kilometers in altitude. And we're waiting for confirmation of the next few sets of deployments.
spacecraft 3 and 4 have been deployed.
You just saw the next two satellites deploy. Mission is continuing nominally. You'll notice that you can only see one satellite come off the actual payload fairing, or fairing adapter, forgive me. That's in order to keep the satellite and second stage moving in a straight path.
Satellite deployment. As you can hear, everyone here is just extremely excited that we both have a first stage that is sitting on ground, and also we are taking care of the nominal primary mission here. It's all about delivering those satellites to orbit as well. The secondary, the sugar on top, or whatever.
The very
Cherry on top was the first
delicious
stage.
cherry on top.
Well, because the worst thing that could happen is after this incredible moment, if something goes wrong here, it really would kill the buzz. So, we really, want to get this right now just to orient me and everyone up. So, 3 have been deployed, correct? Correct.
Yes.
Out of 5.
3 deployment sequences, 2 satellites per deployment. So 6 have been deployed, which is just over half of them.
And now there's 2 more deployments.
3 more deployments.
3 more deployments?
Yes.
Okay. So, for 11 total.
Correct.
And you're only seeing about 1 go off at a time because that's given our camera angle. The other has half of that payload time fitting.
All right, the NSA can track my global positioning. More DirecTV channels. Yes. No more lost image 370s. All right. People live.
And just remember, that is a live view from space. That is the blackness of space. We are 620 kilometers in space right now.
What I think is cool, it looks like it's just sitting there calmly and these things are coming out and everything's going slowly, when the fact is, these things are going 17,000 miles an hour. And I kind of figured out once that if you're on the beach and something was going this fast out into the ocean, it would go over the horizon and out of sight in a half a second. That's how fast these are going.
It's insane. And there's the
like
4th deployment. It's another successful deployment.
There's one more.
We're waiting for just the final deployment of the constellation here. Should be about another 20 seconds or so. We'll be seeing that last satellite be separated.
This will be the 11th satellite, and that will complete this mission. After we deploy this final satellite, we will then deorbit the second stage. And we have successful deployment of the 11th and final satellite on the ORBCOM mission.
So I got in contact with Housesoy. We went ahead and did that.
All right, here he goes. This is Red's houseboy coming to us from deep inside a dark basement. Go ahead, houseboy.
I must say, I do kind of enjoy these challenges that jeranism puts out. Like, demonstrate this, or you clearly fake that, and you can objectively show him wrong to shut him up. So, to quote him from his video, he said it was so simple a kindergartner could do it, so that is all he has to do. Model it for me on Kerbal, the same satellite deployment that SpaceX did, and he wins a live debate on my channel with his choice of when and his choice of moderators.
Why are we whispering? Does your mom not know you're on the computer? Does your mom not know you're a houseboy?
Now, I don't have an exact SpaceX replica, but I figured proof of concept, right? So, this is a simple launch vessel. It has 4 satellites. I have just dumped my get to orbit stage. So you can see my apoapsis is 100 kilometers and my periapsis is almost 100 kilometers. So it's almost a perfect circular orbit. So I activated the engine. Now I'm shutting it down just to make sure that there's no gimbal going on. There's no actual engine activity going on. I located the moon, switched to a hull camera. This is similar to what SpaceX would have, a hull camera looking over the launch. Now you can see the moon in view. Okay, I'm using the time warp. This is kind of, if you don't know the game actually cancels out physics when you time warp. The game actually cancels out physics when you time warp.
Oh, all right. We'll go ahead and cancel the physics. That works for me. I'm in the Lawrence Krauss camp anyway. I don't think about nothing the same way you guys do. I care about the nothing of reality.
So if you're moving in any relative direction and you start time warping, the movement gets canceled. You can see me do that a few times here simply because it's the easiest way to make sure that you are dead still. And that's where I want to go from.
Hey, call me stupid. I'm used to it. Does SpaceX get to use time warp? Because if not, it's probably not a good thing for you to use if I asked you to prove to me what we saw on TV. I don't know. Could be me. Just might be me.
So you can see the RCS system being on to let me navigate. I turn the RCS back on and you can see I can move the craft anywhere I want. I'm going to now move it back into position, and again I'll turn off the RCS system, and you can look by my button mashing that I no longer have any control over the vessel. That is because I have disabled any and all electrical control systems, like any reaction wheels. Anything that can create momentum has been turned off on the vessel.
What do you mean? You disabled any and all reaction wheels? Anything that can create momentum has been turned off? I don't understand. Aren't you supposed to be proving to me what we saw? Is Red in here? Red! Come on, dude, joke's over. You don't really think you passed this test, did you?
So you can see me now mash buttons and nothing moves because I have no control. The only control system on this craft is the RCS thrusters, and that's the decouple. Now this would make sense for anyone that knows basic Newtonian rules of motion. Any reaction is an equal and opposite reaction. That's what applies. And I'll do it again. Decouple. When a force shoots something away from the main vessel, the vessel has to react. It's the same reason you can feel recoil on a gun, because the bullet leaving the barrel creates the exact same amount of energy back on your wrist or your shoulder, depending if it's a pistol or a rifle. Now this would make sense for anyone that knows basic Newtonian rules of motion. Any reaction is an equal and opposite reaction. That's what applies. And I'll do it again. Decouple. When a force shoots something away from the main vessel, the vessel has to react. Now that was assuming the motion is because of the recoil, in quotation marks, of the ejection of the satellites. However, I'll also cover what can happen if the craft itself remains under full control and can handle the forces related to launching a satellite off of the main vehicle. This will be demonstrating how the vessel can move after launching the satellites by simple navigational thrusters. So,
I honestly don't understand how you guys did so badly. I mean, what have you showed? The craft did not use any navigational thrusters. You can even see the other side, not once. It used 0. So now you're going to show me how it would work if they did. So I got physics turned off. I got no outside influences. I got all actions must have an equal reaction, yet there was no reaction occurred. And now I get thrusters when there weren't any. This is great. I'm going to go with a D-. I was going to go with an F, but D- because I got to listen to the soft, sultry houseboy instead of a little red riding rocket.
just like you wanted jeranism, whole camera, overlooking the payloads, the first 2 being launched. Yes, there are 2, 1 from each side. The craft is moving. Again, notice the camera is stationary relative to the craft. Moon is moving in the background. So is the payload. Second payload. And we'll move the craft again. Just like in the video. There's nothing fancy going on here. There's no sky moving. It's just the craft moving in a relative motion. And last payload. It's really not that difficult.
obviously it is.
So I guess that Red gets his debate, right?
Oh my God, he's completely spaced out.
Oh yeah, and by the way, Jeranism, congratulations on winning Dumbfuck over the air. You totally deserved it.
Well, apparently, ladies and gentlemen, there is yet another condition I need to meet in order to get Jeranism to defend his bullshit, to defend what he calls the truth. Now, apparently, what is required for him to agree to debate me is for me to show my face.
All right, let's get something straight here. I have absolutely no problem sticking to my word. You simply failed at the challenge, and if anyone says anything different, well, they are just another scientism fanboy, dogmatic to whatever NASA says is true, whatever Red says is true. Evolution, possibly the dumbest theory in the history of the world, is true. Yes, the laws of physics come out of nowhere, big bangs just happen, the geologic column and all your other nonsense, 4.54 billion years. That's rich, really. I was considering a I feel bad for you kind of consolation debate, but then I started thinking, who is Red? Nobody. What's his name? He seems to think that anonymity is important, so for the third time, let me point out again what I have asked Red to remove 3 times, and he's done nothing. Alright, so let's start off with Red's G Plus account. I did find these 2 posts I thought were hilarious. The first one's talking about the Camaro ZL1, and Red says, I think I just came a little in my pants, and he's probably telling the truth. Wouldn't surprise me. Rockets and cars and NASA fanboys. Over here on the right, No Dream is Too High by Buzz Aldrin. How about One Dream is Too High? Going to the moon? You actually think we went to the moon? My goodness. So, just proving that Red's Rhetoric has no respect for anyone, if you didn't notice that already. 35 weeks ago, he posted this little G Plus post. It seems we have a con artist on our hands. Now, I can't say for a fact he's a scammer, but I would like some clarification. I was pointed to a video which links to a Flat Earth Society forum. The forum lists a couple of links that supposedly show that Jeranism is some sort of Bitcoin scammer. Even points to a case where he stole $80,000. Now, to save some time, I will post the links here and hope you guys can take a look. All kidding aside, these are some big allegations, so do you have anything to say about your allegations, Jeranism? I look forward to reading your reply. I have numerous times asked him to remove the post, as it is a complete and total lie, and he has not done anything. So if you think it's okay for you to stay anonymous, Red, while also doxing people, and then after being told that the info is false, you leave it up, then you get nothing from me. No respect. You, as well as Eric Dubay, both of you have continued to leave posts up claiming I stole $80,000 and am a Bitcoin scammer. Now, some people like Lizard Queen and Think Like Eric thought they were so brilliant and said that I was the accused Michael Moriarty. That makes a lot of sense. So I wanted to kind of point out what went on in that case, just so everybody knows, and I can direct people here if they have more questions, since these clowns don't feel like taking down false allegations. You'll see here a list of websites owned by a Michael Moriarty. You'll see there on the left-hand side, 3/4 of the way down, JaronCampanella.com. So he bought a website with my name. You'll see here, this is a Bitcoin forum, the main Bitcoin forum. It's called Bitcoin Talk. You'll see that a post was made by Ricky James. Ricky James lost $80,000 to Michael Moriarty. Now, the way I was involved is I did an interview through email with a man that my employer told me to interview. Months after that interview, Ricky James emailed me and said, hey, I saw that you had an interview with Michael Moriarty, and I need to know what's up because I just deposited $80,000 at his website, and now he won't answer my emails. So I thought about it. I was like, well, there must be some sort of mistake. The guy's legit. So I contacted him and I said, hey, Michael, you've got one of your customers who's emailing me saying that he deposited $80,000 in your Bitcoin account, and you never paid it out, and you won't let him have access to your account. So Moriarty wrote back, which was a big mistake, and said it was paid out. I already paid out his refund. And I told him, okay, where's the transaction number? If you don't know about Bitcoin, every single transaction is part of a ledger. It can be tracked, everything. So I told him, well, I just need the transaction number so I can give it to this guy, get him off my back. And he said, the guy's a scammer. He's trying to extort me for money. And I said, no, he's not. I've got the transaction that he sent the money to you. I need your proof that you sent the money back. So this went on for a few days. And finally, he had said something to the effect of, well, you know that money's dirty. There's no way that he had $80,000 that wasn't dirty. So he's not going to go to the cops. And even if he did, then they're just going to go after him for where he got this dirty money. Well, the thing was, I knew where Ricky James had gotten the money. And he had proof that it came from just selling another coin. He'd invested early in another coin and made this money, was cashing it out and running it through BitLaunder. So I told Michael, he's not dirty. Those coins are legit and I have proof of it. So I sent Michael all the proof that showed that he was legit, that Ricky James had actually cashed out on another coin. And Michael wrote back and said, you know what, I didn't know that. I'm going to go ahead and give him his money back. He should have emailed me some other nonsense, which of course Ricky James did. And so we figured, we were all excited he was going to get the money back. So he actually said, let me send a test transaction of 0.01 Bitcoin. He sent the test transaction, said, okay, I'll have the rest there in a half hour. That was the last we ever heard of it as far as getting the money back. And he has to this day stolen $80,000 from Ricky James, which cost Ricky James his wife. Because basically Ricky James had taken their like $40,000 or something in savings and put it into this coin. And then when the coin did really well, he was pulling the 80 out and he was cleaning the coins basically, so there was no transaction history on them. And by doing that, he got it stolen by Michael Moriarty. And as far as I know, he also got separated from his wife because of it. So you can see here his name is all over on sites like badbitcoin.org, where you can find information about him. And unfortunately, I got caught up in this mess because I was trying to help Ricky James. And in doing so, I royally pissed off Michael Moriarty. In fact, he at one time offered me 3 Bitcoins a month to continue to write stories about him and to ignore Ricky James. Well, Bitcoins at the time were like $650, so that's almost $2,000 for me to be involved in his theft. Well, I said, hell no. I'm going to keep coming after you until you return that money, which was not smart. Moriarty finally opened jerancampanella.com, made a site basically calling me a Bitcoin scammer, an extortionist, and wrote emails to my 2 employers at the time, which were BitScan and CryptoCoinsNews.com, the 2 companies I wrote for, and they both had to subsequently let me go. And so Ricky James and my wife and I spent like 4 to 6 months researching, finding out that Michael Moriarty had also scammed Craigslist and lost a $1.7 million lawsuit to them, but no one can ever find him. He operates completely 100% anonymously, and when IC3 investigated the crime, of course, they found the jerancampanella.com site and took it down because it's based off of lies, and that's not how laws work in this country. So fast forward 6 months, and all these guys looking for dirt on me found the Jaron Campanella website in the Wayback Machine and posted it up again. So obviously these fools do not understand how the law works, because if I stole $80,000 from anyone, the injured party would go to the police and say, hey, this guy stole money from me, and the police would come get me. That's how it works. But since Moriarty isn't real, of course, he's not going to go to any police, and the post is just libel and false, hence it's no longer on the internet. But those clowns keep going to the Wayback Machine and reposting it as if it's real. On the screen now, you'll see one of the sites I used to write for was ccn.la, or also known as cryptocoinsnews.com. You can just search for that and find my old articles there. Wrote articles on storage, on Jay-Z, on you name it, FIVA, different wallets that were coming out. You can also type in bitscan.com and Jaron, and you'll see a lot of articles on that website. I wrote there, including my first ever interview. I sat down with, or actually it was over the phone. I did an over the phone interview with Stephen McCaskill, who's the CEO of Amagi Metals. And he is the first company to declare that they are going to full cryptocurrency. They will not be taking any US dollars or any kind of a fiat currency. as of January 1st, 2017. So I did an interview with him that you can find on the site. Again, just search jeranism. Sorry, don't search jeranism. Search Jeran and Bitscan or Jeran and Amagi Metals. Here's a little clip from that. I think when we look 2 years ahead, I think it'll be a completely different world. And I think we may see crypto and gold kind of standing alone up at the top. So it's exciting times. Anything else you want to mention there?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I like to say that we're on the cusp of the largest nonviolent human revolution the world has ever seen. And that's based on these disruptive, decentralizing technologies that are changing the way we look at government, look at business, look at communication, look at internet. And it's a really exciting time.
And you want to know the worst part about the entire thing? Is if you look up any of Michael Moriarty's sites, they're all still there. Go to bitlaunder.com, bitplastic.com, bitarmored.com. He'll still be there, stealing everybody's money. Nothing you can do to stop him. We've tried, we've put months into it. He just keeps going. So if you want to test it and you have 0.1 bitcoins or something, go try it out. Go to BitArmored, which is a secure storage. Drop your 0.1 there, and then try and get it out. Then try and contact Moriarty and see what happens. And that's the story. Oh yeah, here's BitArmored. See, it looks very nice site. Just store your Bitcoin here. It's completely safe with Mike. Just put it right in there. Yeah, look at that. ABC, MarketWatch, Forbes, USA Today, and America's Most Wanted. Yeah, go ahead and try your money there. See how it goes. And so, if you think, or Eric Dubé thinks, or Red's Rhetoric thinks, that I'm Michael Moriarty, and I'm spending my time stealing money from people every day, like this jackass is, then you're an idiot. Plain and simple. End of story. And anybody who's kept this up on their site, like Red's Rhetoric, like Eric Dubé, are idiots. And last thing, you'll see him using girls giving quality reviews of his sites and products. And you can find those girls for $5 at Fiverr.com. Pretty slimy. So Red, down to my final decision. Will I accept the challenge response and debate Red's Rhetoric? Hell no.
So that's your final answer?
Well, that's final, Regis. Mark it down, 100% no. You didn't fulfill your task. You called me a coward as if you had. I told you I would be arguing on behalf of what we do not live on, a ball, and you got old Mother Hubbard to say I had to. Not only did you add your houseboy to our deal without asking, you then made it sound as if I had challenged both of you.
As some of you may remember, Jism agreed to have a debate with me if I could meet a certain challenge he made against me and Housesoy.
You haven't given me an ounce of respect since day one, and the worst part is this is all over things that you can't even prove. You ever been to space, Red? You ever been on the ISS? To Mars? To the moon? Ever been in orbit? These are the questions I'm asking, and you act like you're the king of facts because you follow science. Newsflash, dipshit. It's a scam. They got you. Has nothing to do with your face. Believe me, I could care less what you look like. That wasn't part of the original agreement. You know it, and I know it. The original agreement that would have gotten you a debate was failed. Miserably.
Well, dude, I'm not playing along. We both know that was not part of your original agreement, and that it's your original agreement that you need to honor, Jism. And being that I have met your last condition, here are mine from the moderator I have chosen himself, Sean Hufford.
Save your breath. Wipe your tears. You get nothing. In a year, you haven't even pronounced my name right. I'll say it again. You failed miserably. I imagine that this is much like your failed attempts at giving a girl an orgasm. You got your houseboy over here whispering and mashing buttons, You're yelling and cussing like you have Tourette's.
Piece of shit. It's actually the rocket that's doing the moving. If the camera is attached to the satellite that's actually doing the moving, then the picture's gonna move with it. If you don't have a fucking reference point from it, then of course it's gonna confuse you.
You're trying to explain to her that math is reality, that the lack of orgasm in the first 20 minutes and the lack of orgasm in the second 20 minutes multiplied, so -1 times -1 equals 1 orgasm. Boom! Math is reality.
No.
But you gotta leave shortly. You got a 2-hour drive for 15 seconds of fun as the big fire stick goes boom boom up in the sky.
No.
For fuck's sake, this is so easy, a fucking kindergartner could get it. Why is it that a grown adult can't understand these simple fucking concepts?
No.
You, sir, have failed. Show me where I said you could have your houseboy do the challenge anyway. Who is dishonest here? So if I agreed to a debate, I could just let my paper boy step in for me? Is that how it works? Would that be allowed? Of course not. And would I make a video that said, Red challenged me and Paperboy to a debate? Of course not, I wouldn't. I'm not a liar. I'm not an egomaniac who feels he is cool for going into debates arguing on the side of the current accepted facts and scientific proofs. Ooh, tough guy. He's going out on a limb, isn't he? Indoctrination time, come on. And your face does not matter. You failed the challenge, you tell lies, you have no respect for others, and you've proven yourself, time and time again, to be a no-good piece of mierda. So Red, adios. You're nobody to me. Trash? If that. And even though I don't care what you look like, I would love to find out who you are. Remember once you told me that there was this long list of people who, if they ever found out your identity, might wish you harm? Well, you made a mistake a while back and you disrespected my wife. So add old jism to that list, because I won't forget. I owe you one. And when you're done crying, write up the equation, force equals mass times acceleration into a clown for me. Thanks. And for everyone else watching, I wanted to point out the problem here. People like Red don't seem to see what is to me so obvious. I understand why they have issues with religion. They wonder, why do these people believe something without evidence? So when they left religion, they went on a search for truth, and boom, they found science. There, welcoming them with open arms, and stories of peer reviews, and facts, and research, and experiments, and Red's favorite, mathematics. But here's the problem. They also told you some things, told you things that were proven, things that were facts, and therefore tried and tested, and taught you that the other beliefs are stupid. So Red feels special now. He has the truth. Religions don't. So Red doesn't need any more research. Why would he need to do research? It's already been done for him, tried and tested in peer-reviewed journals. And those at the helm of the religion knew that all they needed to do was make sure that anything Red could research would show him exactly what he wanted to see. This way, he really didn't look into it. He might question the ISS, so put a dot in the sky. Just make sure we use some constants here and there and teach about Newton's gravity and Einstein's gravity and... who would ever second-guess science? Anyone who's anti-science is religious, and religions are based on faith and belief. And anyone who hates religion loves science. So at the very top, all they needed to do was make sure that some of their findings were available, and also that it all worked out mathematically. Doesn't mean it needs to match reality, because your eyes can deceive you. So an example, Red thinks the ISS is 250 miles above the Earth because he can see it with his camera when he zooms in. And he can see it on his computer. He has no reason to look into it at all or question it further. Same with satellites. They're launched up, deployed for you to see. You get DirecTV, your satellite phone works, then satellites exist. Same with the inside views of the ISS. Shows people floating around. We can't float on Earth, therefore they must be in space. Just don't look too deep. Because if you do, and you do what any true seeker of truth would do, and you look into your own religion, you'd cry yourself to sleep for a year. How did this happen to me again? How bad are you indoctrinated? Oh, bad. Not one person, not one, has ever felt the Earth spinning. Therefore, the fact is, we don't spin. That's it. Easy fact. Ask anyone. Feel like you're spinning? Hell no. Feel like you're flying 66,000 miles per hour through space? Of course not. Because we aren't. That's a fact. Is the moon falling towards the Earth? Then why is it getting further away every year? You have been deceived. You trust and love men. You have to understand deception. You're not going to find it on a website when you go searching for Is space real? Or is NASA fooling me? Sorry, ain't gonna show up there. You need to do the research. Listen to Laura tell you all about what is needed in these satellites. Then she says that they already have a fleet up there. And it is more fake money and more pretend purchases which bankrupt the people. And you just keep believing it. You love it. You love space. You love rockets. Oh, the Saturn V, oh, the Titan, oh.
The Falcon 9 is currently on the pad with 11 nearly identical Orbcomm satellites inside of its fairing. But why? Well, this comes down to two main things: the purpose of these satellites and the orbit that we'll be taking them to. So first, a bit about the purpose. Customers all over the world are looking to Orbcomm to provide communication services, such as remote monitoring of farming equipment on the ground, tracking delivery of trucks from point A to point B, and even monitoring the temperature of the goods in the backs of those trucks to make sure they get to the place that they need to be in good condition.
Don't get me wrong. I understand it's not easy to see the deception, but you just need to think. I mean, in our day of age, is there any way that they could fool us by sticking big balloons up in the sky that basically transmit signals and bounce radio waves? That'd be really impossible, wouldn't it? A lot of people just see this image and say, wow, what a beautiful eclipse. Look at the eclipse that happened March 8th. For me, I question it. I see specks and holes through it. So what do? I go push it through an EXIF data finder, and we see that the file time is March the 5th, 3 days prior to the eclipse. The image is a fake. It's a fraud. Thanks, NASA. Keep sending them out. I'll keep finding them. How about this image? Everyone else sees it and gushes over it. Oh, look, it Discovered took a picture of the Earth and the moon shadow. Where is the frickin' moon? Does it take a rocket scientist to ask that question? Obviously not. Let's look at the next one here. Does anybody look at audits like this? Russia's audit chamber has discovered $1.8 billion of financial violations at Roscosmos Space Agency. Of course, because it's a fraud agency, just like NASA. How about this one? Billionaire's fraud suit says lawyer transferred $49 million of spaceflight venture to offshore company because it's all fraud. Just like satellites, just like civilian space, it's all fraud. How about this? Nobody's asking this question still. We still don't have night views of the damn Earth from the ISS. It's 250 miles up. I can call 250 miles to LA anytime I want. No problems. But not the ISS? Give me a freaking break.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. We have liftoff of the Falcon 9.
Red says he was here, so that's proof that it went to space. How about Red was 11 miles away? The closest you can get to these launches. I wonder why. Look at the flare here. Look at the glare. And watch how it doesn't match at all with how any other glare would from any camera. Now, can you assume, like most people, that this must be real? Go ahead. But what is the problem with challenging it? If it's real, it'll show up to be real. Let's watch these clouds here. Now, what are the clouds doing? Are they masking the light, or are they making it intense? Kind of killing it, right? Looks like it's kind of killing the light. Here it goes through the black portion. Oh, the black of night kills the light. But that doesn't make any sense. Now we've got the reflection down below, but now it's beating the rocket. How? It was just above it on the way up. The cameraman didn't move. Is he in a helicopter? No. Now, am I saying that I have the truth? No, never have before. The difference is I'm questioning it, because if I don't, no one will. I mean, a clown could come out of this thing right now and climb from the bottom to the top, and Red would say, that's the way it goes. That's what happens. That's what happens when they go to space. Clowns climb up the walls. Now, coming up here shortly, we'll see a little camera change, and nobody ever questions. I'm sure there's a camera sitting out in a boat in the ocean. It makes a lot of sense. That's surely what they're doing to get this view here, which looks like two sets of flames. But again, what do I know, right? Now, as this switches to this other view here, you'll see in the little screen within a screen. Shouldn't they match? Okay, so now we're looking at the view from the rocket and the view from the ground. Shouldn't they coincide? Let's see if they do. Looks like the one on the left is getting less bright and getting very hazy and going away, but the one on the right is doing just fine. It's actually burning more intensely. Yeah, those really, they match up perfectly. Identical near. A little red dot. It's the same thing now. You're looking at the same craft here. Because they have to be. Otherwise, what are they doing? Are they fooling us all? Or are they sending something up there and it's not really going up there? I mean, come on, you're crazy. Or am I?
And to all of you for watching, thank you for joining us here today and being a part of this historic day for SpaceX.
All right, thank you again for hanging out with us today. And remember, the goal is Mars because nobody wants to go back to Jakku.
All right, let's finish off this little video with this view, which Red says definitely landed in his presence 11 miles away. But when I add a little filter to it, watch that thing shake back there. Is the entire camera shaking, or is it just the image of the landed Falcon 9? My ass, Elon Musk, is a piece of shit. Not real. Not legit. Not kosher. That is some bullshit. I'm sorry, that is so not real. But anyway, that's it for today. A lesson in simply accepting what is given and not being a skeptic. And that just opens you up for deception. And questioning is science. Red, no debate for you. Go disrespect someone else. You're dead to me. To everyone else, thanks for watching. Even if you hate me, ask yourself, why? Is it because I'm questioning your deepest held beliefs? Then go out and prove them. In 2 days, we're going to prove that the moonlight is cold. You'll be calling some religious person an idiot for believing in a book as you link them to evolution is true, sotrue.com. So just remember, be kind to one another, don't lie to each other, and open up your mind because there's truth inside. Till next time, this has been Jeranism. Peace.